Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
In Minnesota, perinatal and postpartum mothers have legal protections to help keep them safe and healthy in the workplace. That means exclusions from heavy lifting, safe spots for breastfeeding, and more. The Women's Economic Security Act protects the rights of pregnant and postpartum women to work safely during pregnancy and to express breast milk at work. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry is here to help you and to protect your rights. Call 800-342-5354 or visit dli.mn.gov/new parents.
Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear skies expected overnight with a low of 68, then sunshine on Wednesday with a high of 82. With the poor air quality outside, have Air Seal Tech check your home's indoor air quality health. Call Air Seal Tech today at 612-888-3664. Air Seal Tech, Minnesota's premier insulation contractors.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. A Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in 4 directions. You're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hare. Hey, we discuss national, local, and Twin City and Madison and Chicago Native issues. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
The American Indian Cancer Foundation and the Native American Community Clinic in Minneapolis are hosting a vaccine event on Friday, September 10th between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. It will take place at the Native American Community Clinic, which is located on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. So go get your vaccines.
Hey, good one.
Friday,
is that what this portion's brought to you by?
This portion is brought to you by,
Right.
yes.
Welcome back. We
The
got
Native American Community Clinic.
We have to get the cat one of those mini microphones, I think.
Yeah, she needs a little
I've seen those
headset on too.
I've seen
yeah.
those on TikTok. She's ready to say something, but I don't know what. Hey, I've missed you all day. Been working hard.
You have been working. You were in your office the whole day. I saw you peek out just for a few minutes.
I was twitching,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but hey, things got to happen, right?
Yep.
That's right. Hey, so we're excited. Ogimaa has been a little under the weather. She's been, cats agreeing. Yep, give a wave. And so we're glad to have her back today.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to give a quick shout out to Lewis, who now, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, is gone. He has little teeny headphones now. So now that he looks a little different, but we want to give him a big shout out for stepping in for Ogimaa with the news. So without any further ado, Wendy, let's go with Ogimaa with the news.
Hi, Anim Bonjour, everybody. It's good to be back. I appreciate Lewis for covering for me for, I think it was like 5 or 6 days or something. I had to go out of town for a funeral and then came down with a cold. It was not COVID. I guess you can still get regular sick in the time of COVID. So that's what I did. But I'm feeling much better now and happy to be back and to share with you guys some news. Unfortunately, it's not really good news. The Minnesota Supreme Court has denied requests to reconsider several key approvals for the Line 3 replacement project in Minnesota. Opponents had asked the state's highest court to review the pipeline's certificate of need, route permit, and environmental impact statement following the June decision by the Minnesota Court of Appeals, which upheld the actions, and the Supreme Court announced that they are declining those petitions to review the decisions as of today. So that hits hard. That is something that I think we were really hoping was going to happen. In other news of the Line 3, the Manoomin, also known as Wild Rice, and other tribal plaintiffs have sought a temporary restraining order against the DNR's attempts to stay the lawsuit against it. So this is with the White Earth Nation filing on behalf of the rights of Wild Rice or Manoomin in Minnesota against the Department of Natural Resources, which is like other new recent rights of nature cases around the world. What they're asking is that the DNR to remove permits for the Line 3 project and to protect the wild rice. The DNR is now seeking time to have federal court determine jurisdiction, but the plaintiffs, the White Earth Nation, have soundly rejected, saying the lawsuit originated in Sovereign Tribal Court, which has its own jurisdiction. So basically, the DNR is trying to say that they shouldn't have to go to court with a tribal nation, that they should get to somehow determine federal jurisdiction. I'm not really sure. But basically what this temporary restraining order cites is the immediate and irreparable injury, loss, or damage that will result to the Manoomin due to the Line 3 project, citing both environmental irreparable harms and cultural genocide. So that was filed just on August 22nd of 2021. And that is, this is big things that are happening in court. The state court is refusing to review this at the Supreme Court level, but the tribal nation is owning their sovereignty and taking the DNR to court about it. So I'm really hoping that this case goes through a little bit better.
Proud to be an Indian. Go get them.
Exactly. So for those of you that have been following the Enbridge Line 3 project in Minnesota, I want to let you know that it's now or never. Line 3 is 90% complete, and they aim to finish construction very soon, early fall. They have oil flow. They want to have oil flowing in this pipeline by the end of the year. So tomorrow, August 25th, water protectors are converging on the Minnesota State Capitol in St. Paul from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. to stop Line 3. You can look that up on Facebook or online at Treaties Not Tar Sands rally to stop Line 3. And I believe the website is treatiesnottarsands.com. Otherwise, you can always go to stopline3.org/hub, HUB, for more information. What they're going to do is they're going to ask Governor Walz and President Biden to step in and direct the Army Corps of Engineers to cancel the pipeline's permits because it violates treaties and prevents Anishinaabe communities from exercising their guaranteed rights to hunt, fish, and engage in cultural practices. Not to mention it's a complete climate disaster, threatening to release as much greenhouse gas emission as 50 new coal plants. And when we've just received the red light for humanity from the climate specialists and scientists throughout the world, this is a big deal that Line 3 is getting through. And as Winona LaDuke said, nobody gets a tiara for the last tar sands pipeline. So the water walkers that we've been talking to periodically throughout their walk from the Mississippi headwaters in northern Minnesota all the way to the Capitol grounds are going to be arriving around 2 p.m. that day. So they'll be ending a 200-mile walk from the Mississippi headwaters to the capital of the state of Minnesota. And they did all this in an effort to draw attention to the travesty that is the state-approved pipeline for Line 3. You are welcome to bring your friends and family to this event. I do believe that right now there's half a dozen teepees set up on the Capitol grounds. Is that what I've seen, Robert?
Yeah, and we're going to have a guest that's there at the Capitol coming up in the next segment. So there could be more now. I know I talked to Rory just a few minutes ago, and there's pushback from the Capitol Police. So we got to get an update what's happening there. But it's beautiful
Yes.
when I saw the pictures last night.
Yeah, it is beautiful. But basically, what happened is they went and set up these teepees on the Capitol grounds for a 4-day. I don't know if they're officially calling it a ceremony, but basically a 4-day vigil ahead of this event. So run 3 days before and 1 day after this event happening tomorrow, the Treaties Not Tar Sands rally. And the Capitol grounds, the Capitol Police showed up in large amounts and put up fencing around the Capitol grounds as well. So they responded really negatively to the influx of peaceful protesters who are coming into the Capitol grounds. The one last thing I want to mention is that there are events happening all around the country to stop Line 3. Just today in Madison, there was a rally to stop Line 3 that happened around noon today at the Wisconsin State Capitol in Madison. Happening also on August 25th is the Boston rally to stop Line 3 in Boston, Massachusetts, August 26th in Chicago, and August 27th in San Francisco, California.
Wow, right on, right on. Good to hear that, and really good to hear your report again, Ogimaa. We've missed you on Native Roots Radio, Wendy.
Yeah,
you were gone for 5 days.
I was gone for 5 days too. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to going to the Capitol tomorrow. I hope that there's a really big turnout. I think there will be.
Yeah, we're gonna try and get it.
Oh, hey, Miigwech Getty for telling me it's considered ceremony. So please show up in a good way if you do go to the Capitol ahead of the event tomorrow. Show up in a good way and bring good spirit with you.
Yeah, good call. And again, Pinigigi Ogimaa for all you do, and hopefully we're gonna hopefully have a guest on next called Simon. I guess it's
Simone Senegals.
Simone Senegals. You're gonna have to help me with that one. Simone Senegals. Say that 10 times during the commercial break. And then we're going to get an update at the Capitol. If not, give us a call too, 952-946-6205. We're just going to be chatting until we get to Wendy's Sacred Animal segment. And we're just doing our thing here, Wen.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good to me.
Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
In Minnesota, perinatal and postpartum mothers have legal protections to help keep them safe and healthy in the workplace. That means exclusions from heavy lifting, safe spots for breastfeeding, and more. The Women's Economic Security Act protects the rights of pregnant and postpartum women to work safely during pregnancy and to express breast milk at work. The Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry is here to help you and to protect your rights. Call 800-342-5354 or visit dli.mn.gov/newparents.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Present. I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
That is awesome. This
Dallas.
portion of the show is brought to you by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Wow, that was great to have Dallas to give us a little quick shout out. We haven't watched the latest Reservation Dogs, but we will probably tonight. I've heard really good things about this latest episode, and our own Bobby Wilson was a co-writer. Hey, we have a really cool opportunity, just a last minute kind of ask, and I really appreciate Simone for coming on. And Simone's with Indigenous Environmental Network, and she's just been in the fight for many, many years. Welcome to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Could you tell us what's happening at the Capitol right now? Could you guys give us a scenario of what's going down? We were wondering how many teepees are up there now because we saw there was about a half a dozen last night.
About 15 teepees are up here on the Capitol lawn in St. Paul, Minnesota. And
Wow.
I'm actually standing in front of the steps leading into the Capitol, which has been closed, watching as there's a huge truck putting up concrete barricades on the steps and all around the Capitol to stop anyone from going into the Capitol.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's the welcome wagon, huh? That's how they treat First Nation people here in this state.
Yes, surely is.
Yeah. Not too happy about that. What we have a few things going on today. We're always in ceremony when we're coming in a good way. But what do we got going on tomorrow? I know we have water walkers coming in. We have the treaties for treaties not tar sands event. Can you tell us a little bit what's going to be happening in the next 48 hours?
Yeah, so the entire event is a 4-day event of ceremony and prayer for the water to bring balance back to our communities is what our grandmas who called for this, what they want. So some of our grandmas from White Earth Nation called for 4 days of ceremony to bring back balance and to protect our water against, things like Line 3, of course. And so this is our second day. And then tomorrow, we're going to be welcoming in water walkers, or walkers for water, who have walked all the way from White Earth and walked every single step and will be joining us tomorrow here at the Capitol. People can join them and walk in with them, and then we'll be honoring them, having honor songs for them, some food, and then we'll have some speaking engagements and a rally, and then music into the evening probably. And so we want to call people in and welcome them. And then on Thursday, which will be our last day, is we're hoping to have our jingle dress dancers come with their healing dresses and asking drums to come and support us. And that's how we'll close out our 4-day of ceremony, as long as we're allowed to stay here, because we're already facing a lot of repression. So we'll see what happens.
Well, we're going to put some tobacco out for you after the show. What can you tell our people in Chicago and Madison about what's happening here from your heart and also your observation of what's happening to our water protectors and our native relatives?
I mean, I think it's just a continuation of the colonization and the genocidal practices of this country. And it just is the same thing. It's just another iteration of it, which is to destroy our homelands, destroy our waters. And then whenever we do try to speak up and stand up, we're met with incredible militarized repression. And it's ridiculous. We've got, 2 grandmas here smoking their pipes, and we've got, tens and tens of law enforcement around. All the roads are blocked off. They've got barricades going up, and there's just 2 little grandmas there smoking their pipe with their little nephew singing. And it's just ridiculous that this is the kind of repression that we face when we're trying to protect our water from this polluting industry.
Well, I
Sorry,
know
it's been a rough day because it's been a little bit of a hard day, but yeah.
Well, I know you've been involved for many years on this, and it's got to be daunting. It's got to be just wear you out emotionally and physically every day dealing with this? I know we talk about line 3 and a lot of line 5 on our show, and I can't imagine. It's just daunting for us to talk about it just for an hour, and you're living it right now.
Yeah, I think many people are feeling that, and it is hard, but we feel really strong because we have to do this, and this is what our ancestors have always done, is we have to protect our homelands and our Mother Earth and our people, our children, and it is hard, but we also feel very strong. And, one of my aunties was just saying to me, because they just threatened to close down this art installation that we have here with all the teepees, because they said we were putting up a tent instead of a teepee, and that was going to violate the permit, and that they would, quote, clean it all out and take it all down. But my auntie was saying, they must be scared of us. She said they're intimidated by us, and that's true, because, when we're speaking our truth, we're protecting our mother. That scares the powers that be.
We have a post here on we are live on Facebook Live too, and we have a post of somebody said that one bus is leaving the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe in the morning, and another from Standing Rock tribe in the morning en route to St. Paul to protect the water. And so that's great news that we're going to have all our ancestors that can be on deck and show up in a good way, which we've always done. So I mean, at the end of Standing Rock, when you were talking about them taking down the teepees, I just thought of the last few days of Standing Rock when, they were coming in full force and tearing and ripping our sacred and our elders and our sacred teepees and medicines. And so we need to stand up and resist this.
Yes, we do, and we are. And I'm glad to hear that our relatives are coming from Cheyenne River and Standing Rock. They've always been strong with us, and, we try to support each other. And I know some of those people, and I know they have good, strong hearts, and we're really happy that they're going to be coming and joining us. And as we all stand together, this is for everybody. This is for all of us. And I'm just really honored to be able to, I'm glad I can stand up, that I can help out in my little way too, but it's really just a huge movement of everyone. And it's when you're here, you can see all the gifts that everyone brings, art, the ability to inspire others, courage, determination, love, all of those things are present here. And it's a really powerful thing, even the face of, barricades and fencing and concrete and, people who are armed, just staring us down. It's like that we're strong, and I'm just happy that all of our people are coming to be with us.
I just want to, I know you're really busy, and I really, really appreciate you stopping in for a few minutes. I just want to ask you one quick question before I let you go, and that's, what do we tell our politicians? I mean, they came begging for votes up in Indian country, and saying things that like this would not happen, and here it is happening. What do we say to them, and what's our next line of action when it comes to this bad medicine we're getting?
Yeah, I think that our politicians need to recognize our power, recognize whose land they are on, and recognize the treaties. We know that Governor Waltz, for example, ran on a platform that was not about the pipeline, that was saying that, it was a non-starter if it was going through any tribal lands. And here now, he is supporting it wholeheartedly, and that's very disappointing. And a lot of people voted for him, And we do have a lot of voting power, not just because of not necessarily just ourselves, but our allies and our cause, because it's a cause that really draws people in, because this is our land and we take care of it. And if anybody wants to live in a healthy way, they need to listen to us.
Well, Simone, I really appreciate you being on, and I know you're busy, and I appreciate you stopping in Native Roots Radio. Thank you so much, Peeny Gigi, for stopping in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Great. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if anybody is inclined to call Governor Walz, give him a call at 651-201-3400. That's 651-201-3400. Please politely ask him to stop line 3.
Could feel a lot of angst in her voice, you guys.
Yes.
It's got to be daunting. sad situation. I just had a sneeze there, so I just muted myself. But
Well, and then to find out today about the Minnesota Supreme Court denying the appeals for the Line 3 project to revoke those permits is absolutely devastating as you're on the Capitol grounds, hoping for, at this point, for any sort of support from the state of Minnesota. It absolutely disgusts me, the state that we live in right now. I love Minnesota. I've lived here my whole life, but I'm honestly disgusted with our politicians right now, specifically the Walz administration for, it was just the anniversary of him saying that the Line 3 was a non-starter, was August 18th or 19th of 2017 that he said it was a non-starter, just before he was elected. And as soon as he was elected, he changed his tune. And it's hurtful, Governor Walz. If you don't want the Native people and teepees on the Capitol grounds, you should probably stop making us mad.
well, and one of the things too, and we're gonna have open mic in 952-946-6205. That's 952-946-6205. Give us a call. And we'll speak your truth like we're trying to do here. One of the interesting things they said is that they fear them. And I feel like every movement we've had all the way back from the beginning, they've feared us and they still fear us. You're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next, the crew talking it over. Give us a call, 952-946-6205.
Stay with us.
I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, it's Tom for All Energy Solar. As a home improvement project, solar energy can start paying for itself the moment the system is powered up. It can pay back 100% of the installation cost, typically within 8 to 12 years. Plus, a system from All Energy Solar can even pay back over 300% of its cost over its lifetime. And you can save even more if you install by the end of the year with 2021 solar incentives. Learn how you can make the switch at allenergysolar.com.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we got our wood stove to lower our carbon footprint and to harvest our own renewable energy. We discovered more. Fire offers both stillness and engagement. It connects us to the basic and often overlooked moments that enrich our lives. It opens the mind to music, reading, and being with those you love. We gather our friends, our family, and our minds around the fire.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, it is our job to find a place for fire that works in your life. We have a diverse selection of fireplace products. Clean wood burning, convenient gas burning, and easy to install electric stoves and fireplaces for inside your home or outdoors too.
Fire does more than offer comfort from the cold. Fire warms the heart. At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, there are so many ways to discover your place for fire, with over 35 working indoor and outdoor fireplaces on display at the corner of East Franklin Avenue and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1970.
If you're hurting in your relationship or have been affected by sexual violence, you're not alone. Strong Hearts Native Helpline can help you through these difficult and uncertain times. Strong Hearts Helpline is a free 24/7 confidential domestic dating and sexual violence helpline for Native Americans. Help is available by calling 1-844-762-8483 or by clicking on the Chat Now icon on strongheartshelpline.org. This message is sponsored by the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Hey, it's Tom. Utility costs are rising every year, and it's unnecessarily costing you money. But it doesn't have to be that way with a new system from All Energy Solar. Even if you have to take out a loan to finance your installation, you'll still save money in the long run. The loan payment will likely be less than what you would pay for electricity every month. And it's a locked-in price that won't change. So start saving and make the switch to All Energy Solar. Book your appointment today at allenergysolar.com.
Hi, everybody. I'm Santita Jackson, and I want you and all your friends to join my new show, The Santita Jackson Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
Hey, Wendy, what are we doing for dinner after the show?
How about we go to J. Selby's on 169 Victoria Street in St. Paul? They have a delicious plant-based menu that's compassionate and environmentally sustainable.
I'm getting their spot-on vegan Big Mac, the dirty secret.
You can pick up and they deliver within a 5-mile radius, or you can call them at 651-222-3263 or visit jselbys.com.
Well, you sold me, Wen. Let's go order at J. Selby's tonight.
I'm hungry.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear skies expected overnight with a low of 68, then sunshine on Wednesday with a high of 82. Enjoy some revolutionary Cuban cooking at Victor's 1959 Cafe on Grand Avenue in South Minneapolis. The dining room and patio are now open for breakfast and lunch, with takeout and delivery still available too. More at victors1959cafe.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we got all the stars coming on.
This portion of the show is brought to you by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. And Robert, I do also want to mention one more time that the American Indian Cancer Foundation and the Native American Community Clinic in Minneapolis are hosting a vaccine event on Friday, September 10th between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. And it'll take place at the Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis. So check it out. Go get vaccinated.
Right on. Hey, let's drag Lewis in here and talk a little bit. I know we wanted to touch base on another subject real quick and then maybe take some calls. But Lewis, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself to people that are just tuning in.
Sure. I first want to say, Wopi Latonka to all the water protectors out there from up in Red Lake, Treaty Camp, all the camps in north of us, to those boarding buses all around the nation to get their voices heard, to get out there in DC, all these actions taking place across the country. You know, one thing that's been amazing is seeing just the indigenous unity of North and South, people getting together in water protectors. You know, Ikwe Oscar here, he makes a great prayer in Uchimaaka for the Wakanyeja. Wakanyeja is the sacred ones we call children, and we're protecting Mother Earth for our children, and that's exactly what we're doing. So I first want to give a shout out to them and everyone watching that are water protectors and that have took action. But another thing that we're fighting, because, as indigenous people, we're always surrounded, right? We're like the Navy SEALs, right? We're always surrounded. One of the issues that we're surrounded by is the South Dakota Department of Education basically rewriting K through 12 education curriculum to exclude terms of Ocheti Shokowi. And for those that aren't familiar, Ocheti Shokowi means 7 council fires of what we call the Great Sioux Nation. And these are the peoples of the Black Hills, the peoples of South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wyoming. So taking our history and taking indigenous history away from K through 12 education is robbing all children of a proper education and clarity when it comes to, who are the caretakers of the land, who were here before colonization, who were the people that were the stewards of the land, and honoring that. And, the curriculum was with 50, educators that came up with all this. In the 11th hour, they decided to take it out of the South Dakota curriculum. I think this is going to be resonated across nationwide. That's why I wanted to bring it up. Mary Static Smith, Deputy Secretary for the Department of Education, said in an email Tuesday morning that the department made certain adjustments before the release of August 6th draft to provide, get this, greater clarity and focus for educators and the public. So what greater clarity and what does she say? Adjustments is there to be made by excluding real indigenous history and recognizing people of the land? That's something I truly don't understand, Robert.
Right. And it's the erasure that we've been dealing with. And I think really, again, we talk about this a lot, but, the last 6 years, it's been okay. I want to get one of those hats, Wendy, even though I don't wear hats. It's like, let's make racists afraid again. They're not afraid. They're speaking out, and they're speaking out and harassing people, whether it's school boards with COVID and anti-maskers. It's just gone out there ridiculously. We have the minimal amount of people with the loudest voices that are being heard right now, and so this is just a hangover from that. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And look at the antagonistic behavior the government of Minnesota has taken towards water protectors, towards the 1855 treaty. Ogimaa, Winona LaDuke, and all these amazing people always talk about this over and over again. This is in direct violation of the 1855 treaty, and this is a nation-to-nation agreement, right? And exactly what's happening in South Dakota too. We have an epidemic of missing and murdered Indigenous women, and the majority of missing people are Lakota people in South Dakota. And Governor Kristi Noem, antagonistic behavior. Governor Tim Walz, antagonistic behavior. So this is not only just a state only issue. Every state seems to have this type of relationship towards their Indigenous people. That's why it's important for us to unite. That's why it's important for us to get together on all these issues on all fronts, that we can fight together as Indigenous people, because we're all we have.
Lewis and Wendy knows how I feel about this, but in Ogimaa, I went to that big powwow in Shakopee this weekend, and looking at all our relatives and just feeling so prideful that we're still here. And that's not a cliche. That's really what's happening is we're still here. We haven't left. We're never going anywhere. And to be disrespected in so many different ways. But that weekend just gave me that little glimpse of why we do what we do, because not only the little ones, Lewis and Ogimaa and Wendy, but because of who we are.
Yeah, absolutely. It's those going to a powwow and being around our people is so it's medicine, right? We call that pajuta washte, pajuta wakhan in Lakota, and that good medicine that we have around each other. And absolutely, I mean, I look at what's happening in Line 3 as a pivotal moment of our generation. And let's say it for what it is. It is absolutely a pivotal moment of our generation to be involved in water protecting. I mean, we talk about DAPL in 2016, and this was the genesis of Native Roots Radio, was this. And also going forward with Line 3, isn't it amazing that we are here today to talk about Line 3 on Native Roots Radio? That's why it's important to amplify Indigenous voices. Tandu Bluebor said media rarely cover this, almost no media coverage. Absolutely. That's why I give such applause to Devil's Radio in Madison, all our affiliates, AM 950, for uplifting this type of a conversation to be had, because our mainstream media is failing the Indigenous community. They're failing our children because they refuse to look at us as human beings with dignity. That's why they refuse to cover Line 3. They need to cover Line 3 by saying Governor Walz goes back on his promises with Indigenous people. Governor Walz stabs the back of his Indigenous people. That's what they need to be saying. And where is Peggy Flanagan in all this? That's my issue.
Ogimaa?
When we're talking about this and, the media outlets not covering this and that kind of thing, it's not just Native people, it's BIPOC people. I mean, it's not just Native people that the mainstream media is failing to cover these issues on. I mean, they're talking about, who was it that went to space? Bezos? Is that who tried
They both did. Yeah. Jeff Bezos and that other guy, the Virgin Airlines guy.
Yeah. To find out that those, for lack of a better word, rich pricks got more coverage than people here on the ground who are trying to do their best to save the planet from the lack of water that we're about to be facing, from food shortages that we're about to be facing, is just, it's enraging. It's absolutely enraging. And it's a failure of the media to understand what's really happening in the world right now, or to willfully ignore it.
There's no such thing as the liberal media because it's owned by billionaires. So let's get that straight. And that's one of the good things about being in Chicago, being on Devil Radio, being in AM 950, being all over Facebook and YouTube, is that there's 8 companies that own 99% of all the media. And so we're blessed and lucky, like Lewis said just earlier, Wendy, about being able to speak our truth here on these righteous and stations. Wendy.
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. I agree with it all. I don't really have that much to add because you guys are awesome and just said it all. So,
Well, you're the co-host, so that's why I swung it to you and see
Yeah.
if you had anything to add. Because
Yeah,
I have to burp, so that's why.
putting me on the spot here.
He had to burp. That's hilarious. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all the comments today, Robert, Wendy, Ogimaa, and my heart is so full with all of our activists getting out there and doing what they can do. And time again, guys, I see on social media, Indigenous activists saying, "Hey, what can I do? What supplies do we need? What do we need to bring?" And for those that aren't familiar, I believe we talked to Nancy LeBeau yesterday, Robert and Wendy, and they mentioned, maybe you could articulate a bit better than I, that there are specific things that they need up in those camps, and they can bring them to the Capitol, I believe, tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't write
They
down.
said that they needed fall gear now, even though it's been very, very warm. Fall's going to be really, really here fast. So they need like sleeping bags for cold weather and fall gear.
Right. That and that they would take them too. And I
Yeah,
guess
absolutely.
Nancy's War Pony's empty. It's a SUV, so you can throw a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, she's got a big SUV. Yep.
Yeah. Well,
And a lot of gas cards too. They need gas cards to get around.
when we went to Standing Rock, a lot of people gave us credit cards and gas cards and things like that. That's really a big thing because people have to move and groove.
Right.
And these people aren't doing this for fame and fortune up there. They're doing it to protect the water, and that's one of the things. It gets daunting with us. We're only Tuesday here, and it's getting daunting here.
Exactly. And a lot of people too kind of gave us a hard time about gas cards and that we need gas, and we're driving up there, we're using gas, and we're trying to stop a pipeline. But I just want to say that, we all used an electric typewriter before our computers were, came up, and we're still, writing checks, even though we have Venmo and all those other things. So we're using gas because we need to change the gas situation.
Well, go ahead.
Right. Yeah, one of the only things that has not evolved in humanity are communication systems, the way that we contact one another, how we talk to one another. All of our things in humans, the things we have invented have evolved over time, except the spontaneous combustion engine. Gas combustion engines have not evolved, and in fact the first engine, I believe, ran on hemp. Is that right? I think I remember reading that somewhere, that the first engine was designed to run on hemp.
In the 70s too, also, yeah, that was Ford. In the 70s also, they were able to run the cars on liquid hydrogen, which is water.
I hate to use my Art Bell Coast to Coast AM hat, but absolutely right, Ogimaa. I mean, you almost have to think that there is a voluntary way of them not getting away from the combustion engine at this point. We have the technology. We've had it for 30 years.
Well, that's
deep pockets. That's what it is.
Let's just talk about this for 10 seconds because we're about to leave and go into the sacred animal portion of our show. But hey, we had in the Twin Cities here, we had light rail. They're called streetcars. They were run efficiently. They were all over. And the tire company said, no, let's put buses in here. And now we got light rail, and people aren't taking it. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Thanks, you guys. Peeny Gigi. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us. Hey, Ogimaa, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN 350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN 350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College will help you get where you want to go. Located downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, one-on-one mentorship, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality. Connect with a counselor today at dfc.edu. stthomas.edu.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States, and 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected. Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf. Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy. As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired. Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
This is Winona the Duke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
We are Halusa Nation.
Welcome back. Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanjahare.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Hey, before I get to my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy's been an animal advocate for many years. I just want to say really good talk going on in the Facebook chat. I just want to give those people a big shout out. We are reading and listening to you, and really appreciate everybody out there listening to us, Wendy.
Absolutely.
So tell me
yeah.
tell me your name and tell me who do you represent? They had a big article on you, and it was a well-to-do article of all the work that you've done in the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been doing this for your whole life, but really great to see the recognition. And I want to say I love you, and the sacred animals love you too.
Thanks a
especially
lot.
this cat
Really,
right
I
here.
really appreciate it. Hey, everybody, my name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. And I was given that name by my Dega, Curtis. As always, Curtis, thank you so much. And Curtis's Native American name is Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. So as always, Curtis, thank you. I am a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the state and local level. And my director, Minnesota director, Christine Coughlin, put in a really nice article today for me for the monthly newsletter that was put out. And she talked about me talking about, the things that I've done over the past years, and talked about the radio show and talking about animals on the radio show. So I really, really appreciate it. So thank you, Christine, for that lovely, lovely shout out. It really, really means a lot to me.
She had it right too, because when I begged to have a radio show and you wanted to be on, I gave you 3 minutes.
Once a week.
Once a week, right. And then it turned to 6, then to 8. Now you're on, now you're co-hosting this, and we've done other shows together, like Pilot's Progressive Party. And so you're really pumping out the good word about our sacred animals, which are our relatives.
Absolutely.
And, I just want to say this before you get going on your segment, is that we have to be reminded that we were all into Mother Earth. We were all into Father Sky at one time, whether it was 15,000 years ago or 10,000 years ago. The Native Americans are the last line of this. I mean, our relatives watching our wolves and our brothers and with wings and tails and hooves. But I just wanted to say that before your segment.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. It means a lot to me. And I'm going to be talking about the horse roundup again. We have the Onokwa Horses, and those are the Onokwa Horses. They were in Salt Lake City, Utah. So what they did was, these are wild horses. They live on the Onokwa Range there, and helicopters came and rounded these beautiful animals up and put them in pens. And now they're, they supposedly released many of them, but now they're doing it all over again.
What?
They're doing it all over again in Sand Wash Basin. And the Sand Wash Basin is home to an extraordinary herd of wild horses, and they're located in the northwest corner of Colorado on public BLM, which stands for the Bureau of Land Management, about 48 miles west of Craig, Colorado. So what they're going to do again is do this, do it all over again. It is horrific.
Horrific.
So there is this foundation called the Cloud Foundation, and they posted a petition, and they want people to read the petition and sign the petition. I put it on our Facebook page, Native Roots Radio Facebook page. So please go on there and sign the petition. And actually, the petition is more for educational purposes, so that you know what's going on with the horses and what's happening. But what we really can do is call. Like emailing and calling really makes the biggest difference. Petitions do help, but they're not like, a lot of people like read the petition, and I did this for years. I'd read a petition, I'd sign it, give them my information and send it. And I clicked that send sign and I thought, wow, I'm done. But you're not. You need to still send an email. You still need to call. And I feel like there is a parallel, Robert and Lewis and Ogimaa, between the ranchers and the ranchers of the livestock who want this land for the ranchers and the livestock. It's like a direct parallel what's going on with the pipeline. Exactly. But what I wanted to do is just kind of read the petition so that you understand what's going on. And it says you could personalize your message, or you could use this one. And this is the message. I am a concerned citizen writing today to urge you to reconsider the massive helicopter roundup scheduled in the Sand Wash Basin, HMA. Instead, I urge you to continue a robust PZP darting program in conjunction with bait and trap removals, which are far less dangerous to newborn foals. Now, the PZP is a medication that they dart the female horses with that is birth control for them so that they don't have any more.
Wow.
And it helps slow down the number of horses in the herd. We know that the West was suffering from drought for years. These horses are hardy, tough survivors, and recent rains have replenished water sources and left water in washes. Forage is good in areas of the range, and the horses are, for the most part, in good condition. Please do not subject 783 animals to trauma and injury via helicopter stampede. The American public does not support it. Instead, work with the local and national advocacy groups to do the following, right? We want to continue a robust BLM-supported volunteer darting program with this HMA, invest in this humane fertility control program more healthier, and it gives it time to do its work. We need to let those horses live with the birth control. We need to give them time. Remove all livestock from the range for the foreseeable future. The West has suffered from drought for years. The ranchers can get paid to not run animals on public lands, and they give a website that you could look to see what's going on. It is insane to consider private grazing, which benefits so few, when the range has to support the wildlife that the majority of Americans love. If conditions necessitate removals, use bait and trap removals over time, and do not reduce this herd below high AML of 362. There are newborn foals on the range, and if helicopters are used, we know there will be separation, injury, and likely death. This far more humane method reduces trauma to the horses and allows local advocates and sanctuaries to ensure the animals land in safe hands. Local and national advocate groups stand steady to assist. I urge you to be responsive to the will of the American people, who overwhelmingly support keeping wild horses wild on their public lands. And this is what we need to do. We need to get in touch with Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland. You could email her and please call her, and get in touch with the Bureau of Land Management. You could also call them, leave a message. But again, Enbridge is just these ranchers who hold the livestock are just as powerful as Enbridge. They have the deep pockets. They have the deep pockets of the ranchers, and the livestock holders have just as many big pockets as Enbridge, and so that's where we are.
Right, money talks.
Yeah,
money talks.
Mhm.
But I'll tell you one thing before I get going here at the very end of our show is they are planning on the politicians and these people that are making the decisions are planning that you are asleep.
Mhm.
So we are awake at Native Roots Radio. I'd like to end with these thoughts. If you're listening to this show, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on is the sacred ground. It is the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office. Pinigi, Ogimaa, Lewis, Simone, and of course, Wendy. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier. Stop line 3. Please get vaccinated.
Hey, Patrick here for My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res. Around my house, there have been a lot of projects